This is Cold Cuts with Tony Serecchia. Little slices of life, culture, and the systems we all agree not to question. The Long Walk, Corporate Edition. For those who haven't read The Long Walk by Stephen King, it's about a group of boys forced to keep moving. No stopping, no slowing down. Keep going or you're out. Which, in this case, means a bullet to the head. It's not really about distance. It's about what happens when you keep going long after it stops making sense. This is not that. But also, it kind of is. There was a time when walking to the break room meant exactly that. You stood up, you walked down the hall, you got your coffee, you came back. That was the whole story. Simple, clean, civilized. Now, it feels like a continuation of something that started much earlier. And for reasons no one can quite explain without using words like alignment and visibility. Because the walk doesn't start at your desk anymore. It starts with the alarm clock. It starts with traffic. It starts with tolls and gas prices that feel like they were set by someone who hasn't driven in years. It starts in a parking lot designed by a man who believed, deeply, that you should begin your morning with distance and a low-level obstacle course. It starts with carrying a laptop into a building so you can open it to join a call that would have happened anywhere with Wi-Fi and a halfway decent cup of coffee. By the time you get to your desk, you've already done a day's work, and none of it counts. We didn't come back to work. We were already working, pretty well in most cases. We came back to the appearance of work. You drive somewhere to open the same laptop you use at home. You sit in a different chair to join the same meeting. You nod at people in person and then message them a few minutes later on Teams because that's still how anything actually gets done. Yeah, there's a rhythm to it, but not a good one, just a familiar one. Everyone in the same building, performing the same routine, agreeing this part matters more than the part where anything actually happens. And then at some point, you need a coffee. Or, if you're me, a Sprite Zero. Or a bag of chips you didn't want until you realized you had to walk to get it. So you make the walk. Now, the break room isn't far. A hallway, a turn, another hallway, a couple of minutes at best. But distance changes when it's attached to everything that came before it. Because this walk didn't start in your cubicle. It started in your driveway, in traffic. Somewhere around the moment you realized you were going somewhere to do something you already could do perfectly well right where you were. So the walk feels longer than it is. Not physically, but in a way that's hard to measure, but easy to feel. None of this is hard. If it were hard, you'd complain about it. If it hurt, you could point to it. But it doesn't. It's friction. Small, constant, unnecessary. A pebble in your shoe. The kind of friction that doesn't break you, it just slows you down a little. A weight to things that used to feel light. Turns a normal Tuesday into something more complicated than it needs to be. To be fair, there is value in being together. Some conversations don't happen on a screen. Some ideas only show up because someone said something offhand and someone else catches it. There's a version of the culture that actually requires proximity. That part is real, but so is the other part. The commute, the cost, the lost time, the unspoken understanding that we're all gathered here to prove something that didn't need proving. So you make the walk, you get your coffee, you come back, you sit down. You open your laptop. And everything looks exactly the same as it did at home. Same screen, same meeting, same work. Just better lighting and worse coffee. Maybe the problem isn't the walk. The walk is fine. People have been walking to get coffee for a long time. Maybe the problem is realizing we didn't return to the office. We returned to the performance of work. And like most performances, it's convincing from a distance. Up close, though, you start to notice things. The set pieces, the reused lines, the part where everyone knows what's happening, but keeps going anyway. Because in this version of The Long Walk, you don't get eliminated for stopping. You get noticed. And that's worse. I'm Tony Serecchia, and that was Cold Cuts. Short takes on the things we all live with, but don't generally stop to question. If this one landed, there's more at TonySerecchia.com. See you next time.